everyone. And welcome everyone. Welcome to the University of the Underground. And I'm absolutely excited and delighted because today is a very, very special day. Today it is Moon Arkestra final presentation. And welcome everyone. Welcome to the University of the Underground. And I'm absolutely excited and delighted because today is a very, very special day. Here we go. So we were doubling ourselves for a second, which was really exciting. So anyway, welcome to the University of the Underground. We are a free, pluralistic, transnational, educative platform. We are based in the basement of nightclubs since 2017, initially in Amsterdam. And now we managed to, actually get from the basement to above a nightclub. And now we are above a nightclub in London called the Village Underground. And we are teaching, since 2017, ways and means by which we can use events to build and create critical thinking within mainstream, within institution, public or private, and to challenge them from within, challenge their power structures, challenge their status quo, challenge their workforce as well, through the means of these very, unorthodox, I would say, events. So that took us pretty much all over, whether it is in New York, in Cairo, in many different places of the world. And today, it's my greatest pleasure to announce a collaboration that we have put together over the summer. It's a collaboration that was done together with a UK-wide festival called Tour de Moon. Tour de Moon was kind of like, I would say, a natural fit for us because it was led by our teaching team and our advisory board member. And it's a festival that was looking at celebrating nightlife, decolonial practices, and youth countercultures through collective experiences and radical imagination. And so in that context, we couldn't think of a better person to lead this program than Dr. Aditi Shaganathan, because her work specifically has been looking at decolonial praxis and imagination as a radical site of refusal and resistance. So she put together an amazing 2-month residency program, which you're gonna meet some of the incredible human that made this program happen. And they together have asked, how can whistleblowing, which basically means revealing secret information as part of public institution, be considered a creative practice and outlet to rethink our world, being politically, economically or sociologically within and outside of institution. Now, the Moon Arkestra, which are this incredible 9 individuals you're going to meet in a second, ask another question in response to this one, which is how does Tour de Moon Arkestra combine care, work, interdisciplinary music, performance, decolonial, queer, collective consciousness, and play to whistleblow during Tour de Moon Convoy. So with that in mind, I'm gonna stop here and let Dr. Aditi Shaganathan introduce the incredible humans that made the cohort of the Moon Arkestra. Aditi, are you here with us somewhere in the world?
I am. I'm here. I'm in Mario Land with you, Nelly. I'm Yoshi. It's so good. So good to see everyone's beautiful faces and to be here, to be celebrating your work. You've been working so hard in so many different ways on this project. And I think some of the labor or a lot of the labor comes through embodying, a lot of what Tour de Moon and the University of the Underground is about, right? You've been kind of swimming in that sea of the radical imagination. You've been constantly kind of critiquing different processes, different ways in which power moves and power operates. And you've been holding power to account in different ways. And I think that can be a really hard thing to do and to embody, right? There's such a huge chasm between theory and praxis. And what I've seen you do throughout this process is to narrow that gap, right? To truly live the decolonial, to truly live radical imagination. And so whilst you've been on tour, you've been doing an abundance of different things, right? Like from physical labor to making music, like so many things. And yet you've kind of all managed to carve out the time and space to work on your creative responses to the question at hand, which I laud you for, because that's a hell of a lot of work. So I want to thank you all for being your incredible, magnificently smart selves, and for inspiring me, right? For reminding me what the radical imagination is about, for reminding me about ecologies of care, for embodying these things in so many different ways. You all come from different places. You all kind of carry different life worlds and different experiences, and yet you're able to kind of live and move to the rhythm of decoloniality. And I find that truly, truly mind-blowing and heart-expanding. So without further ado, I just want to, you know, give you my immense gratitude. I'm so, so excited to see what's going to unfurl. Yeah, big, big love, Arkestra. Sun Ra would be proud.
Thank you, Aditi. And do we have Maya Lee?
Yes. Hello. Hi, I'm Maya Lay, and today I'm going to be presenting a performance that I have created in collaboration with Zoe and with the assistance of Ali, who's going to be filming. And this actually, do you want to come, Zoe? Because this is for both of our projects. Do you want to say anything? So so Leigh and I charities in our project, and so we've combined them to make one presentation together, and yeah, we'd like to start for you.
Okay. We had some technical difficulties, so I'm just gonna check. Is it working?
I think so. But can you?
We're just gonna take 1 minute. Sorry, I'm just gonna come out here. We basically, we need our speaker to be connected, and it's just disconnected for some reason. Is it okay if we just have 1 minute?
No worries. And while you are taking the minute, maybe Dr. Aditi can tell us a bit more about how she put the program together.
Yes, I can. Yeah, so whistleblowing, it's quite wet. Like, I guess our first assumption when we think of whistleblowing is the ways in which singular actors hold big institutions to account. And there's great value in this kind of gesture of whistleblowing. We see this with Julian Assange, with Chelsea Manning, with so many incredible actors who sacrifice a lot, right, to kind of perform this this vanguard, speaking of truth to power. However, I kind of was interested in different aspects of whistleblowing, whistleblowing in the everyday as an everyday practice, and also adding the element of kind of decoloniality and different histories to the aspect of whistleblowing. So whether we're thinking of like, you know, Marinage, maroon communities who kind of refused the gaze of coloniality, who refused the gaze of plantation economics, and we're living in mountains, we're living in trees, you know, we're creating life from the resources of the earth. Like, wow. That's such a beautiful way to kind of rethink and reimagine what whistleblowing is and what it has been, and also what it could be. And I think many of the members of the Arkestra also vibrate to that frequency of whistleblowing. So a lot of the speakers that I invited, they kind of, they thought about whistleblowing in really abstract ways. And like whistleblowing as self-care, whistleblowing as, you know, standing in solidarity with Palestine or the Western Sahara, you know. Whistleblowing, I guess, can be more than just a singular gesture, right? I think whistleblowing has a lot of power and potency when it's this kind of collective, communal utterance. And yeah, Saidiya Hartman's the chorus, the epilogue of her beautiful book, Wayward Lives and Beautiful Experiments, comes to mind, not only when I think of whistleblowing, but when I think of the ways in which you all embodied whistleblowing. You know, you kind of reimagined whistleblowing as this collective endeavor, and I think that's breathtakingly beautiful. So
but we should say as well that what was super original about your program is the fact that also the orchestra members were always on tour. I mean, we didn't say that, but they were literally moving around, and kind of the sounds that they were making was, I mean, if you were to imagine a flute going around the UK, then you could imagine that the vibrance would be very different from a place to the other. And I think, you know, perhaps we're going to see like very different projects being developed or at different point in time. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going to be shared today, whether there would be any diary or any kind of element of that as well. But that was also a really interesting part to have that kind of mobility as part of your, you know, as part of your program, which we never had before as well, because usually we are stuck in basement of nightclubs. So we don't see much, you know. So are we ready? Is Maya Lay ready to, yeah, okay, off you go.
Okay. How do you turn your camera? Okay, I see.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." Picture this, a room filled with glass jars stacked, filling shelves upon shelves, much like a library. A scientific title reigning over each category, a short description explaining each section, like an allegory, named and protected by a pirate's treasure. Here lies the rat, here lies the squid, here lies the eagle in the cathedral of creation. Each one is known, life and death, a timeless pride. Captured for safety, baptized for health, man-made. No room in the inn for other beings existing in between, there is art to the shore. Rumours around this place, its secrets circulate around every campfire and pass through every fantasy. The water, unknown, is precious. Few have the abilities or allies to survive even the shortest of peaks, for gossip is what keeps these myths alive. And the myth is what offers protection. So if I am not real, I am unclassified. I cannot be captured if they don't know my real name. I am hydrodynity, hydrofluid world.
Trust is a way of life and a state of mind. Placed in time on jagged lines, we dance to the future. We announce our existence. We cut fresh tracks to declare the resistance. Future dreaming in a past-lit present. journey with us.
Yeah. Can they hear us? Okay.
Okay, and thank you very much. Bravo, and this was Mayale and Zoe.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Are we moving? Is there, are you gonna, go ahead.
We can talk. Do you want to talk? Do you want us to talk about it? Or
yes, please.
Do you want to ask us? Do you want to ask questions, or how should we?
Well, tell us first, what was your research question? What were you trying to investigate? And how come you found your way together? So, like, as I understand it, we've morphed two projects together.
So, my research question was, how do the wave-like motions of fluidity, mermaids, and music collide and spill over the constructions?
And mine was how the Moon Orchestra called truth into being. But specifically, we both realized that we had a lot of themes whistleblowing the idea of categorization and scientific investigation and hoarding.
And starting with the Natural History Museum as like this, they were calling it the Cathedral of Creation. And one thing that both Lay and I picked up from that was that what the guy said was that if something needs legal protection, then it has to be named. And so creatures can't exist and be legally protected if they don't seem to exist according to Western science. And
so we played with the idea of naming for protection versus a lot of like within Western science, whereas in like a lot of indigenous or other cultures, knowing a name is seen as having power over and ownership, and so that puts a really interesting lens on the real motivations of naming to protect,
and also unnaming.
And so we started, so within this sort of setting of like the synchronicities between Western science and Christianity, we were exploring the idea of like baptisms and naming ceremonies, and one of the tracks that we used was a clip from another film, which is a queering of a traditional Ghanaian naming ceremony. So there was a lot of like research, I guess, around that, playing with that idea.
And playing with the idea of using your name or your alter ego or new name as the way to escape categorization and escape maybe what you could have like religious views on. I was asking the question, like, if a priest were to encounter a mermaid, would they think it was coming from the devil or some kind of like sinful creature, or would they think it was a creature of God? Like, I would have thought that it was more the first, that they were evil, because that's a lot of the Christian associations with mermaids. So that's what I wanted to show with that. Reclaiming baptism, and then
and I feel like a big part of this was like the idea of escaping, being able to roam, like coming back to this fluidity of like not needing category. And I think it might have, I don't know if you guys could actually hear what the audio in like the first bit, but could you?
No, but it was interesting. It was like alternative,
Okay. I think it would have made a lot more sense.
Connected in another way.
I think within that writing, we can post it in the chat maybe or something. The links are made I think the links are a lot clearer, maybe.
And so just to clarify, so it started for you, you did a visit at the Natural History Museum where we went to see Archie the squid, which is this creature, basically. Do you want to, and then that's how you got the idea of actually looking at mythology and some of these characters that you built, whether it is the mermaid in your case and your character as well that you built.
As an alter ego, yeah.
To actually interrogate the institution, right? Is that the process that you went through? Just so everyone, because everyone can understand maybe the kind of the various processes. Not that it just happened overnight because it's a 2 months project, but
yeah, that was pretty much the process. Just like that sort of shocking space being met in coming to the basement and it just feeling like a timeless space. And like there was just a lot of energy and tension in that building that we wanted to explore, like what the freedom of those creatures could be. Like we're taking Archie around the UK, what does that, like how could we tap into those spirits and I guess free something.
Free Archie. Free Archie from the Pyrex, the pirate's treasure.
It's a reference which you would get if you could hear.
The reference to the lyrics.
I mean, I don't know if it would help if you heard some of those words.
We could read it to you again.
We could read some of it to you. I don't know how much time we have, but if there was anything else to say, I would want it to be that personally.
If you have them, drop them in the chat because Victoria can actually share them into the live stream as well, so everyone can read them as well. Victoria, if you're still there, is there any question as well on the live stream? If anyone is asking something too, if they want to ask, they're more than welcome to do so. If they want to type it into the chat, then we can kind of like revert that back to all of you. Anyone wants questions? No? Okay. Christopher.
Hello. Thanks, guys. That was even though I couldn't hear all of it, it still felt of something. So my project is
So sorry, Christopher, before you start, just are you dropping the text that you because I don't think otherwise.
Text.
They're gone. Okay.
Okay. Should I continue? Cool. So yeah, my project kind of took shape over the, as I'm sure all of us have, over the time being with the Moon Orchestra in the Moon Convoy going across the UK. Kind of just because I was, trying to figure out what my role, my place in the whole scheme of things was to be. And, I kind of go into more detail in my written piece, but ultimately, what I realized was that I was just thinking too much. Do you know what I mean? Like the noise I was creating inside of me was inhibiting me from really understanding the dynamics at play and the essence of the experience that was unfolding over the course of this time. And so I just kept, this phrase just keep coming back to me, like, silence is necessary. Like, these like uber personal thoughts and feelings are less important than the collective experience and the, just the environment and what was actually unfolding, separate and apart from, internal, I call it rubbish at this point. And ultimately, you know, the piece I have to share today is a musical piece I composed, and the goal of it is to invite you to do similar, if not the same, thing that I kind of had to relearn while this piece is unfolding. Meaning that just as if in the same way you would sit down and listen to a piece of music for the first time without expectations, and you know, maybe certain segments are a bit challenging or it invokes, you know, whatever tension that might arise, just kind of breathing that in and letting it flow through as opposed to getting stuck anywhere. Do you know what I mean? And so the last thing I would like to say is just that, you know, the lesson that I kind of came back away, because, you know, like whistleblowing is, the point of whistleblowing is to expose the truth, right? It's to say, this is what's actually happening here. But in my case, in order for me to know what was actually happening here was to be quiet inside, to understand the truth of my environment and of my situation. And in the same way, I ask everyone, as this piece is being played, to try to remain quiet and open and see if any truths emerge inside, you know, your own truths about the situation, or also truths that might be revealed through the playing of the piece. Let me share my screen. And let me know if I need to turn anything up here. Thank you, thank you.
Amazing, Chris. Amazing. Aditi, do you want to start the question? Anyone want to start asking questions to Christopher? Christopher Langley, everyone.
It's not a question, more of a comment. Yeah, so much actually. But as the piece was playing, everything that you'd written about kind of came to life in a way. So I was listening and I could hear different elements of everyone's presence, of everyone's character, of everyone's kind of sonic expression within that piece that you made, you know? And I guess for you to have kind of reached that kind of point in your music making, you needed to retreat within so you could actually deeply listen to what everyone was saying. So it's almost like that piece is an embodiment of like this kind of pluriverse of the Arkestra's truth. Yeah, it was really beautiful. It's like I could feel different energies of like Lay and Zoe and Isha and Fraz and V and Samar and Mango and Ali just all kind of like coalescing and colliding and then blending and morphing. It was really, really beautiful. And I didn't realize we were we were making comments and asking questions, but with Lay and Zoe's presentation as well, I liked again this merging, this kind of blending, this overlap. Zoe, the overspilling, you know, of these ideas and concepts and sweaty ideas and concepts, and like how you kind of brought them together. And again, going back to what I was saying before, this notion of the collective and the communal overriding and superseding like the subjectivities of the individual. I think there's so much power in that, and like in the gestures of the mermaid Zoe and this creature Hydra, I thought she's called a Hydrodite or something. Yeah. and with Lay's like kind of merging of you and this kind of, you know, ram horned kind of creature. Like what happens when we kind of hybridize, what happens when we kind of cross fertilize, what will yield. And I think we find that like something other, something different, the otherwise possibilities, they emerge, you know. And I think both of you kind of captured that really, really beautifully as well. So thank you, Christopher, Lay and Zoe.
Who is next? Sorry, I was just wondering actually, do we know, or are you all waiting for me to come up with it? It's like Fraz, you're next. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thanks a lot. We can hear you. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, Fraz. Yeah. Now this is, we had a, keep trying. It might be because you're using your microphone. Do you have a microphone on? Do you have anything on?
Is that working now?
Now, yes.
Yeah, cool. Sorry about that. I've had some technical difficulties.
So Fraz is with us now. Off you go.
Cool, thank you. So in my project, I've been kind of thinking about how listening operates and how we each individually listen through the kind of lenses that we've created throughout our lives, through whatever information and like learning and things that we've listened to already, and the people we've been around, the music we've been around, the sounds we've been around. And I particularly tested this a little bit over the whole of Tour de Moon by thinking about how I was listening to the sounds that were around me and that were around us. And I'm going to just share screen. Basically, I was thinking about this in several ways. Okay. but particularly looking at firstly the sounds of DJs. And I was thinking about how I notate music, how I write down the music that I hear. And with the knowledge that that is just not how everyone does things, and also not how the music that the DJs are making is really designed to be recorded, I thought I'd have a go. So what you're seeing on the screen is basically just some transcription that I did, and they're like little sections of stuff that I heard, little moments of notes, moments of lyrics. You'll see my handwriting is quite messy, but you can probably make out some words at least. And so I had 4 pages of this, and I can't change it yet. Here we go. I had 4 pages of this, and I decided to do several experiments. The first 2 experiments are taking these and making them into little tiny piano pieces. And the piano pieces that I made are, the first thing I did was take the written down stuff that I'd handwritten and write it into notation software. So that's what you see now. It's, it's just computer processed, so it looks a bit nicer. So then I made it into piano pieces. And the first experiment, which I will share the sound for so you can hear what it sounds like. Basically, they're both fugues. What a fugue is, a very, very brief explanation, is a composer finds a little bit of sound, like a nice little short melody, which is called the subject, and then plays with it and puts it against different counter subjects, different accompaniments, and against itself in different ways, and just kind of explores that. So for these 2 piano pieces, I created a little subject based on the stuff from the original, like stuff that I'd written down, and then made something out of it. So this is fugue number 1. And you'll see how I created the subject, which I've just shown a tiny clip of. It doesn't really matter if you're not like taking it all in, but it's just, I've taken a tiny bit, like 2 different snippets from the stuff that DJs were playing and put it into some stuff. And this is what it sounds like. Let me know if you can hear it or cannot hear. So after I made that one, I then thought about how I'd done it. I begun by just like doing a few in a boring way, and then like the middle kind of just goes off and does some like other stuff. And I did the same again with some different things. So here we go, Fugue 2. The ending of Fugue 2, rather than staying like in the middle of the piano and like playable, it just moves completely off the piano. So what I've shown here is all of these bits that are red notes, they are impossible to play. So I tried this again, and by taking this idea of like a normal fugue and taking it off in a different direction. So this is what this one sounds like. And as you're listening, you'll hear this opening subject coming back again and again. And you'll probably also hear the piano lines get a bit weirder. Cool. So that's kind of the end of those two experiments, which are kind of limited by just being written for a piano. What I then did with the opening material is that I wanted to use all of it. So these just use a tiny little bit of the stuff that I transcribed. I wanted to use all of it. So I used Ableton to make what I describe as a little documentary of my time and experiences of Tour de Moon in some ways. So it uses all of the bits that I transcribed originally. So all of the stuff that's written on those opening pages that you saw. It also uses some sounds from the set that I performed occasionally, a specific sound that I added in during the Tour de Moon, so that my set was about sleeping, and so I added in some of the shipping forecast. So it's got a bit of that. It also begins with something else that happened on Tour de Moon, which is that we stayed in hotels. So there's a bit of music that is the very beginning, which was based on some piano music that was playing in the foyer of one of the travel lodges, which some of you may like recognize if you were sitting there for a while, because we were waiting for a lift. And so I recorded that, I wrote it down. And that's the beginning of this track, is a combination of that Travelodge piano music and the vending machine. This photo that you'll see on the screen is the piece of art that is in every single Travelodge, which is very interesting. They think it's, you know, good for sleeping. Anyway, this is the Travelodge bit that I transcribed. You can think about this picture as you're listening to it. And I also wrote a very small little poem about that morning in Travelodge, which I will leave up as I begin playing this next track.
Mainly fair, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Portland, Plymouth, southeast veering south later, 4 to 6. Mainly fair, moderate or good, good, occasionally moderate. Later. 1 reaches to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly. Southeasterly, the north. Fair, good.
Bridlington, west by north 2.
Northerly or northwesterly 3.
Lundy, Fastnet, south or southeast 4 to 6.
Small hours to our colleagues, BBC World Service. We're back just after 5. With special schedule program.
Marlinhead, southeast by east, 7.
Scilly automatic, south-southeast 5, 9 miles, 993 falling. Milford Haven, south by east 3, 15 miles, 995 falling.
9 rising. East-northeast 1, 5 miles, 984, rise
miles, 988 rising. Aberdeen, west 4, 11 miles, 991.
East by south, 6, 3 miles. A 1,000.
Silly,
2 miles,
5 or
1,010.
3 to 5.
4 miles,
Inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours,
good,
and issued by
occasionally
Met
very
Office at 2300
showers,
on Saturday, the 25th of December.
First hour.
The general situation, low pressure.
good, occasionally poor.
Cool. Thank you. I think that's...
Thank you so much, Fraz. Thanks a lot. Okay, and maybe we might have to move straight to V, but if there is any time, maybe you can, like, maybe in one line, maybe you can tell us a bit about the, you know, just the research question that you had at the beginning or something like that, just in case, or do we have any questions? Anyone that want to ask something short?
I can't promise something short.
Can't wait to go back to London and go to your rave.
Surely we're gonna be there.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Fraz. And now we're gonna go straight into, well, V.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So today, my presentation is about instruments. I'm kind of obsessed with instruments, and I mean, in the Moon Orchestra, like that kind of was sort of like a recurring thing that I was thinking about. And so what I'll do is maybe read out the questions that I asked myself and then read some of the things I was thinking through and then show you a map. Mm-hmm. So the questions I was thinking through, are the following. I was asking myself, so how do we become our own sound or sonic experts? and how have the orchestra's instruments become tools for radical truth-telling in its journey on the tour de Moon? And then the bigger question that was, how does the Moon Orchestra combine care work, interdisciplinary music and performance, decolonial and queer collective consciousness, and play to whistleblow the tour de Moon? So I also thought a lot through like listening and its practice. And this is what I wrote. So what does it mean to actively listen? For me, it's about the way we attune ourselves to the everyday, the way we sync with the vibrations of our body, of old and new relationships becoming, and how we process that moment that is the present. For the Moon Orchestra, it was really important that we listened. During our online lectures, our rehearsals and performances, we were always listening. During our sound checks, we were trained to hear our sound and understand its energy. According to Tina Kampt, who's this Black feminist scholar, to look and to watch is to perceive at only one sensory level. In her practice of listening to images, she finds ways of tuning into sonic frequencies that assemble ways of seeing, ways of feeling, of being affected and being moved. So opening our ears was how the Moon Orchestra encountered each other, how we embedded care, time, and reciprocity in our collective movement. And for our music, listening helped explore the liberating power of a song, a track, an ensemble, of words feeling a page, of instruments colliding, of movement and improvisation building with shakers, strings, and horns, bass guitar, and drum, a hum, a rhythm, voices, chaos pads, and loop pedals all there together. I also was reflecting a lot on like improvisation, like lol. I did all of that. And I wrote something about that. So before joining the Tour de Moon, I was really curious about improvised performance and music. What does it feel like? How do people enter into dialogue with each other? Is artistic expression? And also what's at stake when you surrender to change? Because for me, improvisation was a lot about, changing and adapting, but also listening to like structure and how we structure ourselves around change, how it shapes us and there's this quote I was always referring to, which is from Parable of the Sower, which was written by Octavia Butler, which speaks on like change being this everlasting constant, something you can't really avoid or run away from, So a person called Ajay Heble, Aditi, so describes improvisation as a trenchant model for new forms of social mobilizations that accent agency, collaboration, and difference. So in their reflection on improvisation, Heble looks up to Sun Ra, who is the Astro Black philosopher, composer, and improvised artist we all love. And so we know that we fought a lot for Sun Ra by virtue of being called the Moon Orchestra, but also personally, I do listen to Sun Ra, and yeah, that's moved me as well. But then for Heble's Sun Ra's improvising practice, so his search for somewhere there, a place that refuses oppression and being subject to state and institutionalized violence, embodies a manifestation of the possible. So I believe that the Moon Orchestra's improvising practice is a form of whistleblowing. The orchestra moves away from the assumed and the scripted. We weren't interested in feeding dominant narratives about music and its production. We didn't join the orchestra to make quality or palatable music. We weren't interested in playing within specific genres. In fact, our critical engagement had us refuse those boundaries and borders around music. Our music and improvised performances incorporated all forms of expression and instruments available to us, honoring the various musical and rhythmic traditions we found ourselves respectively rooted in. Our improvising practice was grounded in our knowledge, curiosity, playfulness, and discipline. Our improvising practice was an act of care. We showed love for each other's learning and educational experience. We showed up for each other during our performances. We showed strength and support in times of vivid uncertainty. And in my experience, I was able to express the possible without fear of the unknown. I wrote on improvisation because I wanted to be there in dialogue, in the dialogue and changes I was experiencing through the tour. And so in these ways, improvisation was a guiding force for the Moon Orchestra's truth-telling consciousness in our journey for collective building and radical music making. I am going to read a little bit more, and it has to do with what I'll show you in a bit, but the way the project, the thing I made for this today works is it's a map. So, and it's like a way for me to sort of archive and document our experience. So this is what I wrote about it. Mapping the Moon Orchestra's sonic journey is a way to remember, honor, and learn from our travels on the Tour de Moon Convoy. For many of us, this was quite a unique experience. Therefore, it was important to record what happened, the moments that marked us, and what's changed in and around us. I used my Zoom recorder and my phone to record the Moon Orchestra's gatherings, discussions, rehearsals, and live performances. I thought it was the best way to document the orchestra's practices with instruments and how we become experts in our sound. Loads more has been recorded through video, photography, and writing. This map is an archive. Archiving has me concerned with how I remember the things and events that are regulated into the past, how we enable matters in history to speak as they live continuously in our lives, how we live in remembrance of our past lives. This map is a way to live in the afterlife of the Tour de Moon, to stay connected, to check in with ourselves, to enjoy our learnings, and to continue imagining possibilities for ourselves in this experience, in the experience of life, to be honest. So this map is not static. As time passes, as circumstances change, once again, this map will take new shapes in our consciousness. And yeah, to be fair, like it's in the works. So yeah, you must come in again. I'm gonna share my screen now. Oh, so also, it's on a website called Echoing Betty. And so Echoing Betty is like a website I created in 2020 for myself, for me to like just explore like my creative kind of consciousness, and to like play with things and to record my thoughts and do like just play around. And I learned a bit of coding and yeah, learn how to sort of space things out for myself. And yeah, I was really excited to just think about a map on this in the space. And like I'm saying, it's changing. So you must come back. It will probably look different soon, but I tried my best to sort of like, because also I was quite overwhelmed by how much we've documented. Like there's just such an abundance of us, and you know, when you're having to select things or having to sort of, yeah, because archives as a thing are selective things too. You select things to speak on a specific narrative. But you know, I truly believe that because it's here, I can come in here and switch it up and play with what's really happening with me and what I get to experience in this space. So right here basically is, you know, with time, I'd like to sort of find ways to sort of space out sounds, but also text and photography and videos we've sort of kind of produced throughout the tour. Right now there's just audio because, hey, it's a sound map. But yeah, I really want to pick up on like how we moved in this country, like, you know, our times on the roads, like our times like in the in-betweens as well. Cause like, you know, I don't know if you remember Lei, King, and Zoe, when we stopped in Otter City, like I was so much was like, it needs to be presented. Like, what are you talking about? We had such a good time. Grab coffee.
Everything utter. Utter coffee, utter shop, utter road.
Utter bookshop, utter newspaper. Like, it was such a cute little stop, and we were on our way. I don't remember. We're going to Southampton. Mm-hmm. And like that, yeah, that was really cute. You know, like moments of just rest and like fun. So I'm just gonna share now some audio clips from 3 specific places we went to because don't have time to show everything. From Grimsby, from Newcastle, and from Crawley. And the audio I picked, again, it's my selection. It wouldn't necessarily be yours. Is more so to do where we were at in these different places. And, you know, in Grimsby, it was the first time we were really accessing a rehearsal space, and what happened when we had conversations in a, you know, kind of DIY rehearsal space. How did that feed into our experience on in the tent, you know? I'm just gonna have you listen, hey? So I don't know if I have to share my computer sound. Yeah. So I said Grimsby.
Right, it's the being able to exist in the same space. That's the hard part.
Is that how you were thinking about the sequence?
Yes, that's how I've been thinking about it. I'm thinking about like how everyone gets their time, but everyone, and nobody is overpowering or nobody's hidden. And if we want to exist in the planet like that, we have to like be able to exist on the stage first, right?
That's really beautiful. I think it's brilliant.
And I suppose it's like, I mean, like I'm getting married in September, and like there's parts about getting married that I'm unhappy about, and there's parts that my fiance is unhappy about, but it's not an individual happiness that matters at that point, it's a collective happiness. Together, are we happy, right? So if you talk about us as individuals, they are like, oh, I don't like that idea, I don't like that idea. But that just doesn't matter now, because we're a collective, and it's the collective happiness that now.
Has anybody ever built a community altar before?
No.
Oh. Do we want to know what a community altar is? Okay.
Yeah, so a community altar is basically a magical way to bring us all together. So all of us are so different, right? And we all come from so many places. So creating a community altar is a way to honor ourselves, each other, the elements, all of our ancestors and our guides and our loved ones. So if you would like, feel free to add anything to the community altar, or light a candle, or light some incense. You can add anything you have on you, even a blade of grass you find on the floor, a pen, anything that you have on you that you would like to keep during our time together.
So Grimsby, guys, especially after Leicester, I think was really refreshing. Really I was listening to a recording of a performance, and we were there, and like I really liked, why the community altar was because we also had a conversation that Isha was talking to us in the way you was talking to us earlier. Like I personally saw like all that come together, right? What did I say the next place was? Newcastle.
So we'll come up with something that we can all be playing, and while that's happening, if you're introducing it, then you'll be saying, introducing each person and saying this is this person, and then they will play a little bit on their instrument, like just like a tiny little phrase or whatever.
Okay.
And then you'll say the next person.
We're welcome to give a little example right now, do I do the introduction like how I done, or do I just do your name and this is what she plays, or whatever?
Yeah, I think less speaking in a way, so we'll be a bit more underneath, so you don't have to sort of give so much of a background, I think, to an extent. So if it's just this is Chris playing a weird guitar, then
because we also have to engage with the audience, innit? So if that works with the engagement aspect of the whole thing, I'm with it.
So having more music from the beginning, I think, will be an important way of engaging people with immediately knowing what we're doing.
So maybe we should just do the set now, and just work on it one at a time, basically.
Yeah.
We might not be able to get through everything today, but the things that we do get done would be really good, I think. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just...
should we focus on the orchestra?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Today, let's focus on all of us in the same space doing stuff, and then tomorrow we can split out. That's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, sick, nice. I like
Orchestra song?
Orchestra song, let's go.
Orchestra song!
Testing. Morning. We're back, baby, we're back. Just toward the moon, baby. Live and direct. It's your boy King Ali in the mix. I'm trying to introduce the Moon Orchestra. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
I want to listen to the whole thing, but time, sorry. Okay, last thing I would like to show, and also I'll share the link, Crawley was just fun. I remember. Sorry, I didn't realize we need to stop after this one. Bless. Sorry, I didn't see the chat. Okay, well that's it for me.
Thank you so much, V. Amazing to hear as well all of the rehearsals.
Yeah, there's more to build on. Anyway, yeah.
And do you mind dropping as well the link to the website into the chat, and then I'll put it on the live stream as well so everyone can listen to.
Yeah, okay, but you must disclaim to the peoples, it's DIY, okay?
It's amazing. It's amazing DIY. We love it. Okay, and do we have Isha? Isha, over to you.
Yeah. 1 second. Just checking the chat.
I know I've seen Mirror Fatality has to go. Yeah.
Mirror Fatality, you want to go next, and I'll just finish. I'm easy.
Mirror Fatality. No, it's okay. You can go. Okay. All right.
I'll keep it. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've all really just shared experiences from, our time together. And I suppose my whole project was kind of centered around the idea of how to, in some way, represent musically or rhythmically our time together, how we were able to exist in the same space without no voice being louder than the rest and no voice being quieter than the rest, how we were able to all have space but together. So the way I thought best to kind of represent that musically was through a musical system called the Jati system. Now, the idea of the Jati is very quickly is that what we have is a beat, and within that beat we divide it, we split it into micro beats, and there are like 5 major categories: Tisra Jati, which is 3 in 1; Chatushra Jati, which is 4 in 1; Khand Jati, which is 5; Mishra Jati, which is 7; and then Sankiran Jati, which is 9. Those are the major 5. The names keep going up until like 11s and other numbers, and it does start to get into like prime numbers basically. And yeah, what I did in my write-up was kind of how do I represent, or how do I look at the Jati system, but then with respect to the time we had together. I tried to take different aspects of how we work together and put it underneath a Jati in a quite a linguistic way, I suppose. But my project is basically me improvising with Jatis, trying to musically express how we existed together in the same space, time and space, and how using the Jati system, I can actually, within the same beat, make things sound different. So I had a metronome, but I've realized it's way too quiet to be picked up. So I've got this really old box, which just plays like a... It plays like what is like a hand drum, but like a really dodgy 30-year-old sound. So I'm just going to use this as a metronome. And then what I also did, actually, before I start that, the way I tuned the santoor was half major and half minor. So we get like... And then, so that bit's quite major, bit of happiness. And then the second part is a little bit of, can you guys hear the santoor enough? Okay, that's okay, cool. So that bit's a little bit minor. So then collectively we can get like a bit of a happy, and then we can go to, so we can get, so the idea is through this happiness and sadness and through the Jatis, I can musically represent how we existed together. Anyway.
Thank you so much, Isha. Incredible, incredible.
Thank you.
So if anyone wants to know a bit more about your project, we have just dropped a few more info into the chat section of the live stream, so they can dive in a bit further into all of the you know, all of the universes you've been putting together in Planet of Rhythm. And now, with no more ado, we have King Ali. King Ali, are you ready?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name's King. Let me start off by saying my research question. Obviously, everyone here has their instruments and their sounds and that. I didn't come here on that background, leadership background, sort of a community. Using strategies and methods from the realms of sports, leadership and coaching, how have I created a space different perspectives can coexist? Now, I'm going to show you some little clips and I'm going to feedback on them while we go along. So I'm going to start off before Arkestra. So this clip I'm about to show you, I don't know how to share screen, 1 second. Share, open system. Sorry, I just, one second. I'm trying to share my screen. Is it showing, by the way? Anyone?
No.
Okay, 1 second.
You alright?
Yeah, just need to it's not letting me show my screen for some reason.
Sometimes it's inside the setting of your computer or your phone.
It's
it might be because is it on for like just the host?
Yeah, me, I don't know.
Like,
No, you should all be able to share. We don't have any restriction.
Oh yeah, no.
I haven't pressed desktop.
Yeah, sure. Fuck, you know. Oh, sorry, my language. For some reason, it's not letting me share.
Maybe try on the computer of Malay and Zoe now. And meanwhile, we can have Mirror Fatality maybe start.
And then I'll come back to me, please.
Yeah. Okay.
I wasn't prepared.
Okay,
for
try
that
and test out on their computer and see if that works, because it should be able to. Yeah. And also go in your setting and check that actually Zoom, you have allowed to share your screen on your side, because sometimes there is a security kind of thing setup that you have to unlock. Yeah. Okay, Mirror Fatality, are you there?
Hi. Hello. Hi. We're currently in Mohawk land in upstate New York. We've been farming, so sorry if we've been kind of off the grid, but we're online right now.
Yes. Yeah, we wanted to share a little bit from the film that we had made that was a part of Toward the Moon. Yeah, so the film is called like Earth Bodies Biometrics, and we shot scenes around different parts of London and Bristol and at Woolwich, and used archival footage from our artist residencies and farming residencies at Buttermilk Falls Residency, Earth Lodge Center for Transformation, Starroot Farm, Esalen, Isis Oasis Sanctuary, AADK Spain, Califoo, Starroot Farm, which is on Mohawk land, and yeah, our tours across Turtle Island, Asia, and Europe.
And Mexico.
Oh yeah, and Tijuana.
We completed the film while touring, performing, and getting COVID during the editing process. And we believe that the scenes of our film are a visual archive of our bodies as protest and our existence as resistance, a visual archive of us whistleblowing the surveillance and policing of London citizens on public transportation in buses, tubes, and trains that we are constantly targeted on by the unjust fees, guards, and cameras. The final product of the film, alongside our performances throughout the convoy, protest the things that we constantly fight for. And through sharing the film, we were able to whistle against the fascist and imperialist governments of America, India, and the Philippines. And as activists and artists dedicated to land sovereignty, basically where we are all free, we all have access to land, we all have food to eat, and queer and trans, Black, Indigenous, people of color liberation, we wanted to create a piece that is politically charged and interacts with the audience in a way where the message of resistance is brought to those who watch the film from our multimedia world-building futurist lens. And we also performed the song on the convoy with everyone on the orchestra.
Yeah, and it was really cool to hear just like some of the audience reactions to it. And it was shown in Leicester, Newcastle, Southampton, and yeah, our film was displayed across like many different places, and we met people who had witnessed the film and learned more about the movement work happening across the world in LA, Mindanao and Kashmir. And yeah, one person told us the film allowed them to understand like trans and queer identity world building and artistic creation in ways that they had never experienced before.
And just for a lot of more deeper context about us performing Earth Bodies and the film, a lot of the chants and direct actions that you hear that we've mixed it are actually recordings that we've taken. For example, we were at a Uniting to Protect Our Communities, Free Them All, Black and Brown Unity Drum Circle in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center in LA. And we were taking over the highway that day. So a lot of the drums that you hear, where you hear like, free them all, is like part of that protest. Or when the COVID pandemic first started and all of our friends and us were getting evicted, we went to a lot of no rent strikes in front of the mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti's house. So there's a bunch of recordings from that. We united with a lot of the indigenous and native folks from all over Southern California, and specifically we're in Santa Monica, which is also known as Tongvaland, on Tongva Park. And so you can hear, what do we want? Climate justice, when do we want it? Now. So those are archives of that. And then we have a speech from Queen, who is our Afro-Indigenous elder who does spiritual sanctuary and healing for queer and trans BIPOC folks across the whole entire world. So although it was just us, we were also sharing like the movement and the fight that of the people that we're deeply connected with. And you can hear all those samples and everything that we've been discussing in the first scene of our film, which we'll share now. Strands que acompañan el connection with Moon or
We're marching, we forget that when we're marching and protesting, we're tapping on the earth, and the earth hears our cry. And it is not just our marching and protesting that happens, but it's those spiritual, elemental beings that are rising up to help us.
was the first scene of the film and the song that we shared on tour. And our question is, how does our performance, our care work, our queer of color collective consciousness dismantle and whistleblow against transphobia, imperialism, and white supremacy while we were blessed and privileged to be part of the Moon Convoy. And to extend that, we also performed our song Utopia.
Yeah, and Utopia is really about like the way that we are able to harness our anger of living in an unjust society and wanting to find ways to harness that anger so that we can one day like destroy the systems that are oppressing us, marginalizing us, and controlling us. And we also bring in protest chants and education about what's happening in both Mindanao and Kashmir, which are both heavily militarized by the fascist government of India and the Philippines, so we can weaponize and whistleblow against fascism, imperialism, and climate disaster, and create alliances and solidarity globally to uplift their resistance by mobilizing direct action through bridging our community of artists, organizers, and educators.
And our lyrics are protest songs that envisions what Jose Munoz, a former queer and trans theorist, calls for: the doing, performing, and engaging the performative as a force of and for futurity. Our songs are a call to action, seeds planting the past, present, and future, growing a portal into queer time with our collective bliss and revolution. Our decolonial collective ethos, care work, and interdisciplinary music and performance allows us to acknowledge the forces that are causing anger and release them into a space filled with people who feel similarly or have paradigms shifted when they receive the anger from the performance.
Yeah, and we also wanted to like create space that for not only like ourselves to express rage, but also like collective moments of expressing rage. So it was really beautiful how like during the Moon Convoy, we had like other folks in the convoy and orchestra like share things that they wanted to release and like share their own anger and share their rage as well. And that's a practice that we've done in like other spaces as well. So it was really beautiful to be able to bring that on this journey. And also the collective scream, which we were able to have like as a way to invite everyone to release, whether they wanted to scream or they wanted to just like let out a word or a breath, just kind of creating that moment for everyone to like let rage out.
And just to add on to that, it's like in order for Black and brown or marginalized bodies to express rage in a safe way, especially when the stereotypes that exist around anger for communities of color can be a means of criminalizing bodies based on being perceived as threatening, or attempts to it allows moments where marginalized bodies can express themselves without the fear of incarceration or being policed or sent into a mental institution. And we also really utilize the community altar that we create, so that is a safe space. And without the community altar, without the intention, without the trigger roundings, without the boundaries, without the plant medicine, without all of the intention that we put behind it, I don't think we've learned and had to learn and try to practice that it's not possible to release that rage. So we also use the community altar on the Moon Convoy to dismantle white supremacy and imperialism. And just working with all of you, being able to learn about each other's needs, creating our own timeline, creating our own portal, creating our own way of existing, we were able to travel, commune, perform, and create an hour performance with each and every one of you when we were present for the Moon Convoy. And we went on to take on that imagination and radical imagination to ask each audience, what future would you like for each of your cities? While spotlighting the fascism that was happening in America, South Asia, and the Philippines. And yes, we want to have local to global solidarity, right? We want to have solidarity with folks from our homelands in the States and here locally in the United Kingdom. And by asking folks what was going on and what they wish for in their local cities, we were able to learn that from cities of Blackburn or Barrow and Furness, that people wanted to also end racism, have more queer and trans spaces, have no more gentrification, less crime, and no conflicts, which we're also able to learn through the altar.
Yeah, and like also just thinking about the ways that like through people writing down those wishes, and then also like the ways that we kind of like brought it into some of the performances, and how like through speaking those wishes and like those truths and those dreams out into the universe, that's a way of like manifesting them, and a way of like calling them forth and bringing them forward. So that was like a really beautiful way as well to, and like the moments that we were able to bring their words in and like bring their dreams in and their imaginations for like their, what they want to see for their cities. Yeah.
And the last thing that we want to say is that in order to whistleblow, it's like not all of us are safe to be in physical space and to go inside somewhere and like speak our truth. And I think through our performance and what we've been able to do at Toward the Moon, we understand that curating our cocoon webs is not about the physical space that they're confined in, but materially matter is fleeting and liminal. And what will always remain is the spirit of the community. Each and every child and intergenerational like community that we built at each altar and each convoy site, the people that we were able to work with and learn and love with on the tour, the bubbling love and trust in our veins, and the surrender to the abundance of the multiverse. As the trees and the ocean held us in expansion throughout the tour, we released our intentions into the ether as a way to trust that our beloved communities and our earth will always root for us.
Yeah, and also a way to also hold like the abolition and healing justice movement work that has been going on for generations, and like all of the elders and leaders and community members who have like brought forth community altars, and like where that history kind of comes from, and like to be able to carry on that legacy is such an honor as well.
For us, cocoon webs are weaved together by the heartbeat of the core of the earth, pulsating with each and every one of our community's hopes and dreams. And we are so grateful to weaponize our cocoon webs in the UK to also blow against white supremacy, transphobia, and fascist imperialism. Yes. And as a closing statement, we are Mirrored Fatality, and
oh yeah, and we just wrote a new bio that we wanted to share. Sorry, also like kind of in like farm earth mode, so it's a little bit like of a shift to get back into like word mode. So if you're noticing it's like a little choppy, it's just because like I've just really been like in a different portal the past few days, so
soil
trying to get back. But yeah, we wrote a new bio, which is Mirrored Fatality remembers wholeness from dismembered flesh and mutates as cross-pollinating perennial teratoids.
Mirrored Fatality intertwines glitch rage webs with corroded resonance and regenerates forsaken spores across their current biome, ecocide Earth. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And please share your new bio with us so we can update it. It's all fresh. It's like a special, like, you know, special scoop at the University of the Underground tonight. Mirror Fatality changed the bio. Here we go. Thank you so much. So King Ali has transformed as my ally. As I can say. Please drop it. If you drop it into the chat, then I'm able to share it. There you go. King Ali, are you ready?
He's on the way. He's just unmuting, I think.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
I'm back here. Hopefully it's working now. Back to what I was saying. As you know, my question was about strategic methods from the realms of sports leadership and coaching. How have I created a space where the Moon Orchestra, and with our multiple truths and perspective, how can we coexist? Now, I have to take you back previously. This is what I was trying to share the screen on, was a video. 1 second, let me go back to sharing the screen again. One second. Share screen. Is my screen being shared?
Yeah.
Cool.
taking you back to the end. See, I deep really on my nuts. I don't know what I've done. Really am pushing. Woo! Every time they get fun, we put balls of them and run. They see us come, everyone had one thing. Woo! That's it. And how do they feel? It's not hard to fake, but it's definitely hard to feel. Body, nice body shot. Body, nice. Get fucking shit. I'm down to like I'm not just a friend, and I'm putting shit on my mother. I got my balls to the end. The gang has done it, and I definitely done it for them. Come on, attack. And I remember that thing so crazy. And he clipped my ball in that bed. What? That's enough.
If you remove the sound of the video, then we can hear you, maybe. King.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you and we can see the video as well.
Let me go back on the video. Yeah, so at this particular time, there was a lot of aggression between us as boys, as men. We're going through a lot. But fitness was one of our things that we needed to work on. So I put together a little boxing ring where we can express our aggression, just like Mirror Fatality's little shout. This is our little shout, just letting out that piece, and in a way to lose our weight, to keep on that mental, physical gain, and as you can see at the end, the balance, sportsmanship, #1 contender. Whoa! All right, that's the first video. Yeah. So within the realms of sports, the elements of sports and fitness, it brings together a balance to people's lives and truth, and it has a way of bringing people together, bringing focus and stability and grounding, as you know. In a social setting where where members of the orchestra spend a large amount of time together, the mindset can give endurance to the team in a space they feel comfortable to express themselves and their truth. Okay, I'm gonna go to another video right now. And this was in the beginning when me, myself, I had to endure that mindset to create a game because I was in a different environment and sort of thing. So in a way, I couldn't make it too sporty, but I had to make a game where it relates to us as individuals. So this is me in the thingy. Let me turn up the sound on this one.
Put the empty ones here. So it's looking like, oh, what does that say? Weasel Beazle. Oh, wealth and happiness, mate. There's a lot more, mate. Creativity there. Legalization. We got less rubbish. Couple drawings. More festivals. Another picture there.
So yeah, this was me creating my own space and putting everything enlarged for me to create a sort of game sort of thing where we can connect with each other with our emotion to keep a little balance. So I read everything there. As you can see, there was pictures, there was phrases, there was even lines, a lot of things. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next video. Now we're gonna begin the games. I'm gonna take you over the games and tell you what the games mean. 1 second. Okay. So this game. So as you can see, this first game, it was about taking one of the pieces of paper from the wishes of the people from the altar and putting on the back, and the person that has the paper doesn't know what the paper says. Everyone else has to give them a little clue, in a sense where the person that has a paper behind their back has to guess. As you can see, 1 second. I was trying to. Right. Okay, I'm going to give you a little short on what happened along the way. Option 4. This is how people were stating their answers and look in their creativity within the things, and the way they balance their language to not offend as well in that whole balance.
Describe the character and she has to act on it. Yeah? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Really, you're allowed to be lost.
Are you cold because you're looking a bit blue?
Oh,
interesting.
That's
it's going to be big.
You start, so you come in, so you have to get in the booth.
You may wish to accessorize yourself with a tiara.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh,
that's
yes.
nice. That's nice. Yeah.
So yeah, as you can see there, people are trying their best to state a phrase, but with creativity at the same time, balance their words to not affect the person in a way where it breaks either their truth, their perspective in life as well. Okay, going on.
Start first, but I need everyone to be with it. All right, for the people that are still writing, you can carry on writing. Yeah, I'm gonna start off a little bit because I know you've only got a few bits left.
So this is game 2, which I'm gonna explain while I carry on playing. This was all about it was like a space where you could release as well. So this is another expression of release. So release the old you, yeah, the person that you used to be, maybe despise in a way, and write that down in a piece of paper who you used to be and how you be the imposter to become the person you are right now. So I'm gonna play it on.
Right. Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I hope that took a while. So I wrote mine in words. So I described who I was in words, and I wrote who I'm becoming in phrase. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna describe myself, but these are the papers of the altar. Yeah, which the queens hold. Let's say. So I'm gonna start with who I was first. I wrote this, unambitious. Why was I unambitious? Because there was a point in time in my life that I just thought one way was the only way, and I didn't see what could be done. I'm saying, so I was living in a situation where it was very, and I took out myself, and this is why I wrote creative. But since I came here, all of yous and your energies just gave me some fire to become that creative that I need to be. So thank you, everyone. So this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love it.
So each person had to burn the paper who they used to be to acknowledge to themselves that see that imposter that you used to be, that ain't you anymore. You keep building, you keep growing, in a sense. Let me get you to the next clip. So this before I get to play, this is the last final game. This is it was more or less to uplift and to make people understand. Maybe sometimes as humans we do need reminders. I mean, whistleblowing is good, but at the same time as well, balancing, you have to keep that standard level of balancing, and sometimes you have to do levels of, you have to be reminded of who you are as a person at times, and we all do need that. And let me play this on.
Close the eyes. Close the eyes. When man goes back in a circle. Okay. See? Now, I'm going to touch one of you. Yeah. And we have to guess who the leader is.
So basically, I gave them a little trick, and I made them think I'm only going to pick one of them as a leader. But in this, as you're going to see in this clip, it was never about choosing one, because each person had respected with their own truth, with their own perspective. They are their own self-leaders, and we are all leaders in different fields, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I had to highlight that within each other, so we know. And notice at the end how the energies became up, so it balanced each other, and it was in a space where we can all come together and actually express with each other. And I believe that expression made us perform well in our music and our performance in as such, because the more we know each other, it brings us more lighter, so we can, you know, build on the methods and the stuff we need to do.
Cameraman, I'm gonna need you on this one. Cool. Okay. Close your eyes. I'm gonna touch one of you. And then that person has to act like a leader. We have to guess. And it's only one person. Now close your eyes. I need everyone to close their eyes on this one.
Like a leader.
You have to, you don't have to, like, you have to know who I picked as a leader. Yeah? Don't worry. Just understand that.
No, but no, I'm asking because I don't.
Too much questions. You just have to close your eyes.
See, obviously there, I just have to say, V got a bit impatient a bit, you know, she was a bit hungry, but it's all right. I have sorted that out after, innit?
I'm sorry. Just close your eyes and trust me on this. Yeah? Cool. Yeah. Follow me. Okay, everyone open your eyes. All right. With the leader that I picked, put their hands up. I picked you as well, come on. Okay, we all lead our own destinies. Do you understand? Yeah. None of that stuff like, we all get nerves and that. Do you know what I'm saying? Our lives are... What happened this thing? Okay. Our lives go and sometimes we get nervous. Like, we all came here in the beginning, we didn't know what we was doing. Look where we're at now. We're a solid team of people that have created sounds that are incredible. Even today, someone went to just use lot sound and said,
Very emotional.
So I just want you to understand that we all feel nervous sometimes, we all feel pain, we all feel, like we said, we have to improvise. We have to overcome that imposter syndrome within us, that we think we're not that person, but really and truly, we are who we want to be. And that's how I'm going to end the note. Thank you. Individually, come, but everyone needs to eat and everyone needs to go. Thank you very much.
Yes, sorry.
If you want, let me come on. Let's
Get in the
middle. Okay, cool.
Obviously the big hug at the end. But why I chose to say the leadership, I'll show an example within the games, because even though I made the game, in the respect within each other. Hello. Oh, come on.
Yeah, the improvisation means that the internet is in and out.
Yeah. Cool.
Ali,
I've got the last two, and then I'm done. Yeah.
Two more video? No.
No, it's just a quick one. It's a small one. I just wanted
Okay,
to show
but
you
short, yeah? Short, because
short.
we will make sure that we, and you're gonna upload all of these videos on Vimeo so everyone can watch them as well afterwards.
Yeah. All I was gonna say is, I wanted to showcase leadership within even the game, and how we even improvise even when we needed to pick people. This is what I was talking about in this statement. Okay, hold on a sec. Okay, cool. All right. So this. So as you can see, this video here, there was a problem within picking who to go next. And even though I was together to find a solution to pick who needs to go first, and because of the respect, it got followed through even till the end. Hold on.
Which one of you want to start with?
No! I go now. The winner choose. Okay. Okay, I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah, even in
Ali, we're really struggling to hear.
Without any further ado, as you can see, I just wanted to showcase that because it's the end. But yeah, you just have to feel inside you that you can do it. You just have to overcome. As you can see, after that gym membership is self-care. Just always look after yourself. And when you need to take time and think. Don't just force. And when you're ready, jump. Do you know what I mean? So kill, but don't rush to kill, but kill the game. Like, do you know what I mean? Because it's you. Showcase yourself. And that's, I guess, that's all part of whistleblowing in a sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much, King Ali, everyone. Yes. And this was the Moon Orchestra whistleblowing court with head of program, Dr. Aditi Shaganathan, and incredible researcher of Moon Orchestra. Do we have last few words? I know, Mayale, you mentioned that you had something that you wanted to say, or Aditi. It was an incredible presentation. I can't wait as well. Your publication will be available to read in the next few days. So if anyone wants to hear and read a bit more about your incredible work, then it will be available for everyone to read and listen to soon.
Yeah, I just want to say well done, everyone. That was amazing. Each and every one of you have brought fire and energy and, yeah, decolonial revolutionary vibes. And yeah, you're reminding us and showing us of what we can be, as well as what the world can be. You know, and it's invaluable. As much as you've learned from the residency and Twitter Moon, we have learned so much from you and unlearned a lot from you all, each and every one of you. And we've learned about what teamwork looks like, what communality looks like, what community looks like, what whistleblowing looks like, you know. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your existence being unequivocal resistance, and for moving through love, which many people do not. So thank you so much, Arkestra. I'm already missing you all. big love.
Yeah, I'm organizing a tabbouleh at my place this weekend, so don't, we're not gonna say goodbye to each other just yet.
See y'all there.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
We
come
hope
on the
to see you all
tractor.
this weekend as well. Hey, we know that you're on the other side of the planet, but you can always join us online as well. Who do we have? Mayale, you wanted to say something, or is that just me that thought you wanted to close or someone wanted to close? If I press start.
I think it's just you. I think it's just you. But that was beautiful.
Sending out so much love. We have to head out back to work, but so happy to see y'all's faces again, and can't wait till we can all see each other in the flesh.
Busy.